Hello, my name is Darya. I'm an artist. I am an expert in watercolor, and this is my place of work. And today I'm going to teach you some techniques on how to use the watercolors. And we will start with a very simple still life. This is our still life. As you can see, it is very simple. It is composed of just two objects that have very simple geometrical shape. It's good to begin with. So now let's talk about the instruments and materials that you will need in order to get an excellent result. So first of all, the paper. It is very important that you choose a very good quality paper for your work. I live in Italy and I use Fabriano paper, which is very good. And I would advise to you that you choose 100% cotton, rubbed, medium grain paper to avoid stains. You know, this is one of the biggest problems in watercolor when you use much water on the paper and then you paint, and when it dries you see unpleasant stains. And it happens when the paper is 50% cotton and 50% synthetic. But when it is cotton, usually you can avoid those effects. And you can control very well your drawing. You also need good quality brushes. Usually I paint with sable brushes, which are rounded. Like, I need 3 different sizes. So I use one for the details, and the smallest one I use for the details, and the biggest one I use for the backgrounds, or anyway for big surfaces. And the middle size for medium-sized surfaces. I said those are sable brushes, so they are natural origin, but you also can use synthetic brushes. It's important that when you wash the brush, you can get a point on top. We also need a good palette, which is appropriate for watercolor use. This palette is different than the palette we usually use for oil painting or acrylic painting. For example, this is my palette for oil painting and it is wooden and flat. Instead, for watercolors we use something that can keep small amounts of water. I usually recycle egg containers from grocery store, and they enable me to have little pots where I can keep small amounts of water with the color diluted. I also use like small cups, measurement cups. I recycle everything. So let's get started. In watercolor, it is very important that we know how to use correctly the lights and the shadows. For the lights, we leave as much paper as possible intact, just the white of the paper. So we basically have to know where to put the brush strokes on the shades. So in order to be able to do this, we have to draw the outline. So first of all, before we actually start painting anything, we have to create an outline of the image so we know where we put the colors. So we have an apple and a teapot. So first of all, we have to understand the composition. So we have two objects and we have to put them just on the right place in this rectangular space that we have. So try first of all to find the center of the paper, and your teapot will be on the left from the center and the apple on the right. Then also see the sizes of the proportions of the objects if compared to one another, and then start planning these objects on the paper. So you determine the height, the top and the bottom of the biggest object.
So now we have the outline actually all set, and we can start having fun with watercolors. Some green for the teapot. Okay, we have some drops here. That's not the problem. Okay. Clean the drops. As you can see, I'm working with transparent layers. Very, very transparent layers.
Now the time is right to start working on the details and to mark deeper shadows. For this purpose, we'll change the position of the block of paper from vertical to horizontal.
So now it's important that I will explain to you how to blur, because when you add some shades, some deep shades, you don't want to have just that very sharp edge between the shade and the light. So first you put the color, then you add some water, you actually wash the brush, and then you put some transparent brush strokes over the edge, so you can blur and make the edge a little bit blurry and lighter. I'm working on the details, and actually for this purpose I choose the smallest brush that I have, this one, so I can control the tiny details very well. Actually, here I am changing brushes. Okay. We had a very deep shadow